do have a set agenda today, but it definitely includes you. So we're going to try and include some time for questions from you. If you do have a question, if you would just raise your hand or type your question in the chat window, and we'll have somebody watching the chat window for us as well. One quick note, Primetime Notaries has a website, primetimenotaries.com, and there's a contact page on the website that you can just email your questions for the next session using that contact page, or just contact at primetimenotaries.com. So if you have any questions that maybe we didn't get to today, you can email those questions to us. Also, I want to mention our next webinar is when, Ronnie? September, don't have my calendar. September 22nd.
Our next webinar is, because I have it up on my screen over here.
15th, I think, right?
Our next webinar is, drum roll please. Actually, because I'm in the meeting, it doesn't show me all of the next ones. However, I will copy the invitation and send it out now. So if you want to register for the next one, you will be able to.
Yep, I got it right here, September 15th. So stay tuned for those registration links. My name is Beth Hathout. I've been a notary since 1994 and a signing agent since 2001. I did work for a local title company as a processor closer for a few years before striking out on my own as a mobile notary signing agent. I'm currently an instructor for NotaryStars. That's owned and operated by Mr. Ronnie Mickle. I'm joined today by Miss Carol Ray, Mr. Ronnie Mickle, and Phyllis Traylor. Our guest speaker is Jason Ives today, and he's going to be bringing us a special safety presentation. And we'll be hearing from him a little bit later on in the program. I think Mr. Mickle is going to announce him.
Jason has already arrived, so we can either start with him or we can give him a few minutes if he needs, but I've already made him a co-host on the meeting as well.
Perfect. Let's go through our introductions really quickly. I'm going to run through my notary hack and then we'll do him first before everybody else's presentations. So Phyllis, if you want to kick us off and just give everybody your 5-second oration about who you are. Phyllis is here, isn't she?
Okay. Sorry, you guys hear me now? Hi, my name is Phyllis Traylor, and I am located in the beautiful state of Texas, in the San Antonio area. I am the owner of my San Antonio Mobile Notary and the Texas Notary Public Training Academy. I've been a notary for about 11 years now. I am a notary trainer here in Texas. I've been training notaries since 2014. And I am just so very happy to be a part of NotaryStars. I'm a graduate of Notary to Pro and also the owner of the Texas Notary Patron Training Academy. Thank you, Beth.
Awesome, Phyllis. Thank you so much. Miss Carol, you want to pipe in and let everybody who might happen to not know who you are, our matriarch.
You got to unmute, Miss Carol. Nope, you're still muted.
Oh, I just wasted 10 seconds of our time. Okay, well, as you know, my name is Carol Ray, and I retired as an escrow officer and then as an escrow manager for many years. That was my whole grown-up life. And I started Notary to Pro in 2009. I'm the founder and owner, and we've trained, we've lost count. We think students over the years. And it's what I love doing. I'm now down to being the mentor. My kids, all of my kids have taken over and doing, all the business type of stuff. So I get to spend my time mentoring my students, and I love it. And I'm so proud of Phyllis to watch what she's done over the years. She was one of my first graduates ever. And I'm so proud of her. She's really accomplished a lot. And I'm happy to be here.
Well, thank you for being here, Carol. We all appreciate it for sure. Mr. Mickle, what's your backstory?
So I've been a notary for over a decade, and I've grown my notary business from an individual notary who goes out and runs their rear end off to get the signings done to we are now, I used to brag $1 million signing agency. Now we're a multi-million-dollar signing agency. But I have to give nod to Miss Carol because I wouldn't be where I am today if it wasn't for Miss Carol. I use her graduates on the regular, and as a self-serving purpose, I started NotaryStars about 2.5 years ago, which is continuing education for notaries. We do tell you that if you come to NotaryStars that you really need to start with Notary to Pro. I think it's the perfect foundation for notaries. And I owe my entire business really to, when I made my partnership with Notary to Pro is when I truly saw the difference, and I could promise my clients, the quality that they were looking for. And I came a part of this group because I saw what was happening, and it was, Carol and Miss Phyllis and Miss Beth doing things, and I wanted to be a part of this group, and I'm so glad to be a part of this group. And now I have this beautiful relationship with all three of you, where I get to spend time with you at least once a month, but I try more than that. And Miss Phyllis is just a plethora of knowledge, and she's helping me out. Even as a business owner, I have to learn constantly, and Miss Phyllis is helping me build an online team. She sent me so many people that we could reach out to. And now she's going to be helping me with our Ron presentation in October. So I'm just lucky to be here, I think.
Awesome. Yeah. Good deal. We all kind of trace our roots back to Carol too. So I'm also a graduate of Carol's. So we're all in the same boat, Phyllis. All right, so to kick off our topic today, our topic is safety. So we're talking about safety for the notary who is actually meeting a stranger, and most often in their homes. Sometimes it's in a public place. That still can be kind of sketchy, but in their homes can be intimidating sometimes. What I'm going to talk to you about, I've mentioned before. This is a location tracking app that you can put on your phones. It's available for iPhones and Androids. And it's an app called Life 360. This little app is a real jewel. Most of the services on Life 360 are free, so it doesn't cost you anything. Some of the add-ons will cost you a monthly recurring fee. But Life 360 gives you the ability to share your location. Life 360 app, you can set up a circle of friends or family that can see where you are at any time. Those people in your circle will get alerts when you arrive at a location. So if you're driving and you stop, it alerts that person's phone that you have arrived at whatever that destination is. That person on the other end can zoom in and see exactly where you are. And they can also use that zoom in feature on the map, on the app, to navigate directly to you without even having an address. So, and I've used this a number of times, particularly when I've had a flat tire. And I tell my husband, I am 1 block west of I-17 on blah, blah, blah. And he's going, tell me the address, tell me the corner. And I'm going, I can't see it. I'm just having pull up that app. do a map pin on it, and he just drives right to me. That's useful, particularly if you need to make an SOS or distress call. So these apps also have an SOS button inside the app that you can do one of two things with. If you hit that SOS alert, it's going to alert everybody in your circle that you need assistance, and it's going to tell them exactly where you are. Or the second option in that SOS is for emergency dispatch. So that's a security dispatch center that calls the local police based on where you are, what area you are. So whatever the closest police department is, that's who they're notifying that they received an SOS distress call, and they can give them your location as well. There are add-ons with that app. You can get driver reports. So if you've got teenagers that you're trying to monitor their driving, you can see exactly what they're doing. Top speed for the day is 78 miles an hour. You know you got a problem with your kid, okay? Other add-ons are roadside assistance. There's also crash detection, and we kind of associate that with OnStar in some of the more expensive vehicles and whatnot, but that's the same premise. If you get into a crash or there's an abrupt stop, it notifies everybody in your circle and calls police and fire on your behalf. They also have some other add-ons on there, crime reports. You can check crime reports in an area that you're getting ready to go do a signing in, and then ID theft protection as well. So it's a pretty well-rounded app. Problem with that is you have to have that phone in your hand to be able to use it, right? Sometimes that's the first thing when we get in trouble that we don't have access to is our phone, either because the assailant took it from us, or we just can't get it out of our bag fast enough. So you need to know that you're probably a walking location sharing device all by yourself. That phone all by itself, usually the home button on most phones, depending on your manufacturer, that home button, clicking that home button 3 times actually sends an SOS to local police and fire. If you have a smartwatch, you also have a home button on your smartwatch that does the same thing. Maybe not for every brand of smartwatch out there, but double check with your manufacturer and see if that's an option on your watch. There are other things that you can use on your person that aren't as evident to your attacker that it might be a location tracking device or some type of alarm system. And those are pieces of jewelry. There are bracelets out there that are also tracking devices, and they don't look like a tracking device. They also send SOS distress signals as well. There are body alarms, little baubles or clip-on somethings that once you take the pin out of it, it emits a very high piercing alarm sound that continues until it runs out of battery or until you put the pin back in. So all of those things can help. And that's my speech. Mr. Mickle, hope some of that helps you guys. Mr. Mickle, do you want to introduce our guest speaker?
Sure. So tonight we have actually someone who works alongside our industry. He's not only a police officer, but he's also a realtor. And I think this is actually kind of a blessing in disguise. I just want to disclose, we had someone lined up, but then when they realized they were going to be talking to thousands of notaries, we have over 100 logged in right now, but then these replays get thousands. They kind of chickened out, and that's okay. And we're not calling them out at all. We're not saying their name, but at least they let us know a week in advance. So we actually had to replace them. We were looking for a retired police officer, but this actually comes as a blessing in disguise because Jason works in our industry and also works in law enforcement. So I think this is just a blessing in disguise to have somebody that's pretty close to what we do. I mean, he's meeting people and has to go show homes and do things. but he also works in law enforcement. So maybe he doesn't have the same reservations that we might have or the same experiences because he works in law enforcement, but I'll let him speak for himself. Jason, I'm going to put a spotlight on you, and you should be able to unmute yourself as well.
Thank you. Thank you, Ryan. Once again, my name is Jason Ives. I'm a detective with the Tucson Police Department in Tucson, Arizona. I've been with the Tucson Police Department now for a little over 14 years. In that time, I've had the opportunity to do about 8 years in patrol. I've been a detective now for 6 years. I've had the opportunity to be a training officer for new officers. I've been a general instructor for officers in the academy setting, and I've been a training detective in my time as a detective. I've recently become a real estate agent as well. I'm a realtor here in Tucson, Arizona with Coldwell Banker. So I do have a little bit of knowledge of going to people's houses just like you guys do without the fancy tools and the tool belt and all that. Ronnie reached out to me recently and gave me this opportunity. I was very thankful that he did and glad I could come talk to everybody. Let's start off with, I want you all to remember to follow all your company guidelines and any state laws that may be applicable to anything that I might say. So I guess we'll get started. I came up with a little acronym for everybody. I want to pair you up for success. So that's PAIR, and that's pair for partner, A for awareness, I for intuition, and R for readiness. So what do we think of when we say partner? What Beth was talking about was a great way to have a partner. You've told somebody where you're going to be. You've said through this app, the Life 360 app, you're telling everyone that you trust, I'm going to be at this location. For some of us less tech savvy people, that could also be in the frame of just a text message to a coworker, a loved one, your husband, your wife, letting them know, I'm going to this address. I'm expecting to be there for an hour, or it's half an hour. And you can just send a text saying, I'm leaving. You can send a text to that person or call that person, letting them know when you're done at that location and you've made your way, you're safe now. So it's a way to have a check and balance that somebody knows where you are, and if something bad were to happen to you, they know approximately say 5 p.m. I'm supposed to be done. I can call that person 5 minutes, 10 minutes after, and they can check on you to make sure that you're still okay. Or if you need help, if they can't reach you, they can call 911 and send help to the exact location that you're supposed to be at. In the policing world, we do this all the time. We let our dispatchers know where we're going to be at. They know the address where we're at, and they will check on us periodically over the radio, asking if we're okay. And if we don't come up and respond, then they will actually send other police officers to where we're supposed to be to come check on us. And it's a really safe and effective way for everyone, even us notaries and real estate agents, to have a check and balance in some way for somebody to come check on us. Just remember when you do leave that you want to let that person know that you've left so they don't get worried about you and end up calling 911. So the next one, awareness. You want to look at your surroundings. When you show up at somebody's home, look around, see what's in that home. When you first walk in that door, are there things like guns laying out? Are there knives laying out? Are there weird weapons from the Far East that may be able to hurt you? Those are things that you want to look around and say, okay, I'm safe in this home, or I'm worried about this object. And you might be able to steer the conversation or steer where you go in the house. If the person has a handgun sitting on their living room table, you might want to steer where you go to maybe outside, or hey, can we go sit on the back patio? It's a really great night out. Or let's go into the kitchen and sit at the kitchen table. You need to be aware of your surroundings and know what might be out there that can hurt you in this home. This includes large dogs, large animals. If there's something that you see in your surrounding that you don't feel comfortable with, make sure that you find a way to remove yourself from that part of the house, remove that item that is scary to you from that. You might have to ask somebody who's a gun enthusiast, can we just put that away for our meeting and see what their reaction is? If they are unwilling to put the firearm away, maybe it's time to leave that residence and not put yourself in that situation that could be dangerous. So we do this as police officers. We're trained. As soon as we walk into that house, we're scanning the area. We are trying to find that item that's going to hurt us, that knife that's sitting out, that gun that's sitting out. In your situation as a notary, you're not going to be able to go over and just grab that knife and say, I'm going to go put this away. But as police officers, we do that where we'll scan the area, find the item that's going to hurt us, and we'll just go and grab it and remove it from the possibility of hurting us. You as notaries, just take the opportunity to recognize this item might hurt me, and maybe it's time that we move from this room or remove ourselves from the house. Next, the intuition. You all have it. We all have it. That time that we have the hairs on the back of our neck kind of stand up. Something's wrong. That sixth sense. You can't pinpoint something in the room that scares you, but something about this person when they answer the door just isn't right. In that situation, it might just be best to not put yourself in the house, put yourself in the possibility of being hurt or being attacked. If something doesn't feel right, trust your gut and say, okay, I need to remove myself from this. It's just something that we need to trust our own intuition on. If you feel uncomfortable, there's a reason for that feeling, and it's time to remove yourself from the situation. We have, as human beings over the millennia, have gained this sense, learned this sense from our elders that when something is dangerous, there's a reason. We're scared of this. We have become scared of heights because it can be dangerous. It's something that can kill us. We've learned that snakes are dangerous because it's something that can kill us. And we need to be trusting in that sense of our body is telling us something's wrong, something's dangerous in this moment in time. So trust that intuition. And then lastly, readiness. Like Beth was saying, we may not have access to our phone when somebody comes and attacks us. I want you to have a plan of what you're going to do. Think about it. Do I want to carry a small little can of mace? Is that something that I'm comfortable with? If you choose to carry something like a little can of mace, I want you to practice with it. It's not something that you go and buy at the store and then put in your purse and then never think of again until you absolutely need it. Because when you do need it, it's going to be, where is it? Where did I have that? I have to look in my purse. It's going to take me 30 seconds to find. Oh, how do I work this? Do I have to press it multiple times? How do I get this thing to work? You're going to find that if you haven't practiced with it, it's not going to be a benefit to you. You are going to not think about it when you get attacked. You're not going to go for the mace. You're not going to go for whatever self-protection device that you've decided. You need to practice with that. If you do decide to have a can of mace, go out into the backyard one night and spray a little against the wall. Now you've had taken the opportunity to see, all right, this is how much pressure it takes to actually get this thing to work. Do I have to break a seal? And then you'll actually might have the opportunity, if the wind's blowing the right way, some of it might blow back in your face. You don't know how you're going to react to that mace. Are you going to incapacitate yourself if you used that mace against an attacker? And now you've just created more of a problem because you can't see, you can't get away. You need to practice with the tools that you're going to have. If you choose to download Live 360 and you download it, and then 2 years down the road, you've never opened it and never used it, and now you're thinking, oh, I need to use this app, you don't know how to use it. When you're in a stressful situation, it makes everything 10 times harder to actually do. You're going to find it much more difficult to get your phone out, much more difficult to dial 911, much more difficult to find the app that you want to open. You want to practice these things and practice how you're going to get yourself out of these situations. This can also lead to, how do I professionally tell somebody that I'm uncomfortable going in their home? Has anybody ever thought about, what am I going to say if I don't want to enter this person's home? I was sent here to do a job, and this person's expecting me to come in and provide this service, but I'm scared to go into their house. How do I tell them, I really don't like you and I'm scared of you, I'm going to go back to my car? But that doesn't sound professional, does it? You have to come up with a saying. What are you going to tell these people? Maybe it's something as simple as saying, oh, I'm so sorry, I forgot my paperwork, or I forgot my stamp. I have to run back to the office and get it. And you've now had the opportunity to, in a professional way, tell them that you're leaving and get yourself out of that situation. There might be a time where somebody comes and answers the door, and you just get that sixth sense feeling of like, I shouldn't be here. And you can find yourself, give yourself an excuse to leave, and then maybe come back with a partner, because you don't have any real reason to not do the job, but you want to have that second person there, that loved one, that coworker, somebody that you trust, to have somebody to help you and just kind of look out your back. Well, how do you introduce that person? Is this person your coworker? If you are wanting to bring that second person in, maybe you introduce them as, oh, this person's a brand new notary, I'm training them. They're here just to observe and learn. They have to go through this so that they can get their license. And you've found a way to professionally introduce a second person into this situation where normally it's just one person, and you've given yourself a little leg up. So those are my 4 tips and tricks that I call PAIR. I'm more than welcome to open this up to questions. Ronnie, Beth, anybody, Phyllis?
That was awesome, Jason. Thank you for that. That was.
I think everybody should turn on their camera and give him a, the signature wave here, because I mean, that was, I honestly am so overwhelmed by your presentation of that information as well. Like, I mean, amazing.
I thought it was a fantastic presentation, and I'm glad that you mentioned that people should practice with their weapon. I used to carry mace, and I had never used it before. And so I was in my office and I said, okay, let me just try this mace. That was the wrong place to try mace. It was inside. So I'm glad you said do it outside. I have asthma too, and I thought I was going to have to go to the emergency room when I did that. So, if you do have mace and you practice with it, do it outside. Good job.
One of the things that I was happy to hear was listen to your gut. I tell people this all the time because we have that sixth sense. We don't use it enough, but I really appreciate that. And Jason, I need to ask you a question, kind of personal, but you're a trainer. Do you know a little gal by the name of Mia who hurt her shoulder during training in Tucson?
I have not had the pleasure of meeting Mia.
Oh, she's my granddaughter's best friend, and
Oh,
yeah.
we know each other by our last names, because that's what I see on everybody's reports, is everybody's last name. So I don't know everybody's first name, unfortunately.
Well, she's 5 feet, well, maybe 4'8". I don't know. She's tiny, tiny, of just pure guts and glory. Thought you might know her.
And Jason, oh, sorry. Are you asking from the chat?
Uh-huh.
Okay, go ahead.
You do have a question in the chat window from Jane. Jane, do you want to unmute and ask your question?
Actually, everyone's set to not be able to unmute themselves, so I'm looking for, is Jane Sue?
Jane Sue.
Yeah, there you go.
Thank you. It wasn't a question. It was kind of to piggyback off Jason. Jason, thank you so much for doing that. A little bit about myself. I grew up with law enforcement, and I put some tidbits in the side chat. And I was also a crisis mental health counselor, where I've done dealing with mental health crisis at 3 o'clock in the morning by myself as a single female. So I know how it is to be out there than normal notaries as a signing agent. I've been a signing agent for very long, but just to let everybody know, you're all carrying weapons sometimes in your own, if Lord forbid you had to use it. You carry weapons every day and you don't realize it. You have pens and you have car keys, which is one of the longest keys you've got. And this is what I was taught with law enforcement. Whenever I go to a car, even if I'm not working, whenever I'm getting ready to go to my vehicle, the first key I have out and always have on until I get inside and lock my door is my car key, because my car key, I could use it as a stabbing mechanism to get someone off of me if they're that close. Your pens is another mechanism. If you have a clipboard, bang someone upside the head. Kick, learn some self-defense classes. I'm physically getting worse, debilitated by my health, but I could still punch and I could still headbutt if someone got that close. You don't want to get to that point, but if you did, that's what you have. And yes, I have seen people walking around with their head stuck in their phones. Walk around being aware, people. The phone is not that important, especially when you're going into an area you're not familiar with. Look at everything. When you go to your vehicles, up north, there was a big thing of people literally slashing, and I'm not trying to scare you, but it's reality. Slashing the back of your heel, your Achilles heel. I always scan a perimeter under my vehicle, just in case somebody's laying there, because you just never know where you're at. And if you try to park if it's at night, try to park in an area where it's lit. Carry a flashlight like I do. Flashlight's another thing you can utilize as a weapon if you need it to. And if you're allowed to carry whatever type of weaponry, either a gun or whatever, try to keep it preferably not with you, but if you don't feel comfortable, that's your choice. It depends on what state you're in. So there's ways, but the number one thing is, like Jason says, awareness. You've got to be aware of your surroundings. If you're really not sure of the area, you know that's a bad area, let someone know, hey, listen, I got a signing on this time and it should take me this amount of time. So thank you, Jason, once again. Like I said, I just wanted to give people just another tidbit of ways of keeping themselves safe.
Thanks for that, Jane. I just want you to know I'm not going to that house to do a signing. Your Munster house on your picture. Jason, question in the chat window. They would like for you to run through the acronyms again, just the 4 of them: awareness, intuition, readiness, and what was the other one?
So it's pair, it's partner, awareness, intuition, and readiness.
Perfect. Okay, let's see if we have anything else here. We do have somebody in the chat from Bennett. Bennett wants to know, I go with my wife to signings and she's overtime. So he's waiting for her and she's going past the time he thinks it should take to do a signing. What's the best method for her to let me know she's okay?
Well, just think of how you might want to be treated as a client. If you as the notary are sitting there working with the client, if you were to pull out your phone and say, oh, sorry, my son just texted me, I need to send him something real quick. I don't think most people that you're working with are going to be offended with you pulling out your phone and sending a quick text mentioning you're dealing with your kids or your grandkids or whatever. We just want to have that person, that partner that you have, know that you're still okay. So if the partner who's waiting out in the car sends a text and doesn't get anything back in a couple minutes, okay, well, maybe they need to go on up to the door and knock if you're using your significant other as your partner waiting out in the car. But run through some scenarios of what you might say if you're at the front door and have to knock and say, oh, my wife's here, she forgot this, I need to give her something, or whatever you as the partnership, you two decide, you find a way to knock the door. But that's why we have the readiness. Practice it, sit down with each other and have that conversation of, What if I need to come knock on the door? What do you want me to say? How are we going to do this? Have that plan, have that readiness built into the partner plan that you have set up.
Thank you for that. Kiana has her hand up. Do you want to unmute Kiana and ask your question?
Hi, good evening, you guys. It's such a pleasure to be with Primetime tonight. I'm like fangirling out because like all my favorite instructors are out here tonight. You know what a geek I am for this notary stuff. But in particular, I just wanted to chime in a little bit. If you've seen me in NotaryStars training sessions before, you probably know I'm like a human golden retriever and I just kind of love everybody. But I've also been a paramedic for almost 20 years. And I have learned a bit during that time. And a lot of what I have experienced as a paramedic is applicable to my position as a signing agent. Two things in particular come to mind with this conversation. One, as a paramedic and as a notary signing agent, I have a professional responsibility to deliver a service at whatever address I'm assigned to. And I know we all kind of feel that because it's like, yeah, I can decline or something, but that there might be repercussions on the backside. Two, in both positions, I am unarmed technically, but more specifically, I'm coming in as a professional with a mindset to do no harm. And so during all this time and lots of dangerous situations that I've been in, I'm very grateful to say that I have never been, how do I explain it? I end up in a lot of situations where people are trying to attack me and my partners, but I have not personally been attacked, but I've saved my partners from it. The reason I say all that is because I want to share just a couple quick ideas with my notary cousins. And that is one, when you approach a property or a signer, first thing is you cannot be afraid. It's kind of like when they say like dogs can sense fear.
Yeah.
You have to have a presence about you, even as a golden retriever like me, that I'm sweet and lovable, but I will bite you if you cross me. So one, don't come in with an attitude of fear. Come in with a sense of confidence and presence about yourself. And if someone is acting squirrely, you have to come at it with an approach of addressing it front on and communicating in a professional and friendly and maybe even a joking way, like, hey, I see that this is the case. We're not going to have any issues, are we? and have them, and I've never had a situation, even with prisoners and pedals and murderers, and I kid you not, I've seen all of this, drug addicted people. I've never had a problem with people just kind of coming to terms with themselves and recognizing that I'm being respectful toward them and then being respectful toward me. If they're just completely out of the presence of their mind, that's a different situation. And of course you have to respond to that. One more little tip I will offer is that whenever I have a signing agent appointment, I set a cute little alarm on my phone, like a little chirp. And I set it for like the 1 hour and 15 minute mark. And I'm not one for lies or white lies, but I do say this, because typically around that time the signing is done. But if people are kind of clingy or whatever is going on for a little while, that little alarm goes off and I say, oh, sorry, that's my contractors. They check in on me, and that way it kind of gives a little hint, like one, somebody's looking out for me, and two, that I kind of need to wrap it up. But if you communicate in some way that like somebody's looking out for you, that tends to just help the person or people that you're with to just be a little bit more mindful of the dynamics. So I hope that's helpful, you guys, but you are not going to be a victim. Oh, one more last thing. Pepper spray is your best friend. Never, but this is the thing. And I tell people, because I live in the city area, and I will stop young women on the street that I see walking around at night, and I'll say, "Hey, where is your pepper spray?" Because it to me, if you are outside and vulnerable in any way, if you have that pepper spray in your hand, you're just always prepared, and you communicate to people before they even think about it that you're not the one. And I've had people that will come, like say at a gas station, because you know how people like to approach you at a gas station, at least in the areas I've lived in. I've had like people try to solicit me at the gas station, and I just put my pepper spray up like real nice and friendly, but like next to my face, like kind of like a high signal, like when they're 20 feet off, and they stop in their tracks and they go away. So you don't even need to use the pepper spray. You just need to know how to hold it and to give somebody a fair warning that they don't want to come within 10 feet of you and respect your boundaries. So it's your best friend, y'all. You don't even have to push it and test your asthma. I feel you, Miss Phyllis.
Thank you, Kiana. Those are all great tips. One other thing I want to mention really quickly is when you do go into someone's home and you're directed to sit at a table, dining table, kitchen table, whatever that is, try to position yourself so you have a straight path to the door, preferably with your back against the wall so no one can walk up behind you unless that puts you in a corner. You don't want to do that. But don't box yourself in, and don't leave your back open for someone to walk up behind you.
There's one other thing, Phyllis. I mean, Phyllis, Beth. This is Carol. If they have their husbands waiting in cars for them, which I did for a long time when we lived in Phoenix, I finally decided that I would bring him in the house, and he helped me to, do with my notary journal and all that kind of stuff. Didn't need a commission. And we ended up working together for 7 years very happily.
Yep, it works, doesn't it? Little partnership there.
Yep.
All righty. So if we don't have any other questions for Jason, at least immediately, let's go ahead and move on to Mr. Ronnie Meckel.
Okay, so I actually took notes while Jason was talking because I had some instances that I wanted to share, but there's a couple of bullet points that he made that I want to, and then one of the notaries that talked about checking under the car, I want to comment on that as well. I'm going to actually start with that one. First of all, I want to give praise to Mr. Jason again, because honestly, he didn't run his presentation by me before. He said he would prepare it. I still think everyone needs another round of applause for that. So someone mentioned looking under your car. One thing that I've always done since my first botched scenario was I actually check my car before I get in. If your car doesn't light up before you actually open it, look in the back of your car, check your locks when you leave your car, front door, back door, at least, one or the other, and alternate as you go. I've done that for years. I've not ever had anybody in the car, but it scares me to death to be in a neighborhood that I don't know with people who don't care about me, that I didn't check the car. I never actually thought about looking under the car. Now I will start looking under the car and checking the doors. But at my car, when I click the button, it lights up, and I look in the car before I get in, because I have a big hatchback on my car that someone could easily fit inside of. And that leads me into my next point, is good and bad neighborhoods. I want to make sure that everyone hears this statement. Good neighborhoods do not equal good people, and bad neighborhoods do not equal bad people. We look at neighborhoods that are low income and we think bad people live there, but birds of a feather flock together. You could be going into a good neighborhood where people can afford to refinance, what we consider a bad neighborhood where people can afford to refinance, and the people are all great on the street. I've been into neighborhoods where I saw more community, what most people would look at as a bad neighborhood, than I go into a big neighborhood where it's just like, we'll put a security guard out front. Good neighborhoods do not always equate good people either. There are a lot of people who make tons of money that could care less about your life. So that, that goes along with awareness. I want to talk about One thing when you meet at the door, I've had people show up naked to the door. I've had people show up clearly intoxicated. If you have suspicions of drinking or drugs, you can't notarize because they're now impaired. So you need to shut it down at the door. If you smell alcohol, someone seems to be stumbling or stuttering or not, normal, impaired, and you can clearly tell that if you smell weed all over the house and they don't seem to be coherent, you need to shut it down. That's your notary commission. You can't notarize their documents anyway. And you need to be very specific about that. But I want to make it clear that it's not just about the competency or coherency issue. Those things can lead to escalations if they're not in the right mind frame for you to actually notarize documents. Large dogs, I have been bitten in the stomach by people who say they've never done that before. After that, I've actually, every call confirmation I do, I let them know, if you have a large dog, whether they're friendly or not, they will need to be put away for the duration of the signing. I don't like for dogs to be set outside. You guys that know that if you come to NotaryStars, you know that I promote rover.com, which I'm also a member of, and I walk dogs and I care deeply. There's a dog sitting right by my feet right now. I love animals. I don't want them put out in 120-degree heat in Tucson and Phoenix, but I do tell them if they're a large dog, they need to be put into another room. My personal weight limit is 30 pounds or more. So if I tell them, if you have a dog of 30 pounds or more, I would appreciate it if you put it away. I got ran over by a car years ago in my 4 vertebrae that are still pending surgery. So a large dog attacking me, I can't defend myself against the dog. And I have no problem telling people that. But other than that, a dog more than 30 pounds can actually draw blood and send you to the hospital. I also want to say something about before you get out of your car, look around. I've been held at gunpoint, not by my signers, but by my signers' gangs that hang outside their house. If you know anything about Phoenix, Maryville is not the place that you really want to do a signing. Early morning, late afternoon, doesn't matter. And my signers actually thought it was funny that I was held at gunpoint by the gangs because the gangs kind of protect the houses. I don't know how that works, but I was truly held at gunpoint for about 30 minutes in Maryville one morning. I want to have proceeded with the signings, but they thought it was funny because the gangs were actually just like, why are you here? Why are you in our neighborhood? So make sure you look out, around your surroundings. For me, I had parked just across the street. There was a white van in front of the house and there were people standing on the other side. Had I looked underneath that van, I would have seen feet there and thought, when I walk around, what will I get? I didn't see it before. So make sure to look around your surroundings before you even get out of your car. I know I'm making this as quick as possible. Unconfirmed appointments. I learned this the hard way as well. Do not get out of your car if the signer has not picked up the phone and agrees to leave a light on for you. I know Miss Beth promotes a flashlight. She's a tough lady, but I tell you now, if the signers do not call me back or text me back, I will still go to the appointment. I will pull in the driveway. I will make sure I have the right house. I will not get out of my car. I will flash my lights, honk the horn, call and text. If they do not answer the phone, that's their appointment. It is not your responsibility. And even if that happened at Unlimited Ink Notary, I don't care. Your safety is way more important than getting out on a dark street where you can't see the houses. Now, if you pull up and they're having family dinner in the window, which I've done, sure, you can ring the doorbell and get out of the car. But if it's like a house with the lights off and no street lights, do not get out of your car. Flash the lights, honk the horn, send a text and call. That's it. You're not responsible for that. Two last things. Unruly signers, be unapologetic to shut the signing down. I don't care if they don't want to sign the documents because of figures or they're just not acting right. Shut it down. You have one job to do, that is to explain the documents to them, verify their identity, and make sure that they're signed and executed properly and notarized properly. That's your job. You're not there to argue. You're not there to wait on the phone for hours while they scream at their lender. To me, that falls under duress, coercing someone to sign the documents. My go-to has always been, if you're not ready to sign the documents when I arrive, as soon as I go over the CD and the vesting, I can't help you after that. And that has always served me well. I am not a diva notary. You guys know from training with me that I give all my all. I will explain. But then when it falls down to argument, I shut it down. There is no argument with me as a notary. And then the last thing, I want to talk about the forgot something in your car. To me, this is the best trick. I've talked about this in NotaryStars. I am sure, and I don't want to say which mafia, but I'm sure I'm sitting down with one mafia at one point, guns on the table, 2 signers. I am pretty sure these people were being forced to take out this mortgage and refinance, and they were already asking about the checks. And I saw myself in this situation. And I remember a story from the NNA where they said that the woman was held at gunpoint for like 8 hours because they wanted the check. And I thought, this is not going to be me. And I immediately said, in order to notarize this, I have to have an additional seal, because we all use those ink stamps now, these little ink stamps, but we also have the seal. I said, I need to get my additional seal. I left everything on the table, called 911. I left that notary journal and stamp, reported lost and stolen, never looked back. And I have no shame in my fear for my life. And if I recovered that stamp or notary journal, but that's why we have those processes in place with our Secretary of State of what happens if we lose our stamp, what happens if we lose our journal. I replaced it. I got a new notary commission number. I think it took like a month. Did not care. I didn't die that night. There is no $100 assignment that's going to replace your life. And so now I'll turn it back over to Miss Beth. I know I wrote down a lot of notes, and I'm sorry, but I take notes while we're doing these things. I'm a dork. And I kind of changed what I was wanting to talk about, but I'm glad that it steered in that direction.
Ronnie, real quick. I'm just going to say goodbye, everybody. Thank you for having me. All of the things that Ronnie has been saying have been great. I hope you enjoy the rest of your evening.
Thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Thank you, Jason.
Thank you, Jason.
Thank
Ronnie,
you,
you
Jason.
have my information. Feel free to contact me if you guys have anything else or any other questions come up. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Appreciate you taking your time, Jason. Thanks again.
Thank you for having me.
So one other thing, guys, when you're going into a home, you might, I mean, so many people are in the habit, they don't go through their front door, they go through their garage. So their front doors are locked all the time. If they do exit their front door or to get the Amazon package and they come in and they close that door again, their habit is to lock that door immediately. So when you walk in, if they lock that door behind you and you're not feeling good about the situation, just ask them, would you mind not locking the door while I'm here? And they'll snicker at you. They might laugh at you. They might even ridicule you. You don't care as long as that door is not locked. I've had situations where there's been a fence around just the front door, kind of like, I don't know, an entryway. And you walk in and the guy locks the back door locks that fence with the padlock. And this thing is 8 feet tall with the spikes on the top. Would you mind not locking that fence? Well, I have 3 Dobermans. Are they here? Well, no, not today. Let's not lock the fence. Deal? And just move on. If he wants to lock it, then say, okay, I'm out of here, right? So just don't let yourself be put in a situation that could compromise your safety. We have one question from Amy, and Amy, we're going to have to keep that really quick, short kind of a question. We've got 2 more speakers that we want to get to. If you want to go ahead and unmute and ask your question. And can she unmute?
Oh, hi, everybody. Yes,
Hi.
I put my question actually in the chat, and I just had a situation where I had a closing one night. Thank God it was in a public place, but
Was that the one about the photos?
yes, with the photos. And we
Yeah.
were halfway through the closing, and I looked up and he's actually taking like a selfie. At first I thought I was taking a selfie of himself, but then I realized I was in the picture as well. And I didn't really think too much about it. I thought, well, maybe he's just, happy that he's closing or whatever. But then he proceeded to do it 2 and 3 more times. And when I had asked him about it, he was like, oh, don't worry about it. It's a disappearing picture. And it just made me so uncomfortable. And I just wanted to get out of there and get the closing done. But what should I have said to respect my boundaries? You know, like it just made me very uncomfortable.
First thing I would have said, and you can choose your own method, but the first thing I would have said was, you don't have my permission to take my photo. And if you continue to take the photo, then we're done here. You'll miss your closing date because I won't be here to help you finish signing your documents. That's exactly what I would say to them.
Perfect, Beth.
Yeah. So, I mean, if they want to risk not funding and closing their loan, then they can continue with that behavior, but I'm not going to sit there and let it happen.
I just want to put in my 2 cents on this. I actually went to a closing once where the signer had set the table up like Valentine's Day. It was creepy. And there was a video camera, I kid you not, sitting like pointing at the table. And I actually had no problem telling them, this is creepy. I need to make sure that this is not filmed. And they said, like, I want to pretend you're my boyfriend going over the documents with me. And I was like, that's not possible. I'm not your boyfriend. I'm a Notary Public and I'm a loan signing agent. And if you don't, stop this behavior, I will be walking out the door right now. So don't be afraid to shut things like that down right off the bat. I mean, there's professional and unprofessional. And most title offices, for all you girls out there, most title offices are women. And I'm sorry, we're in the Me Too movement. Use that to your advantage. If you have a male signer, this was a male signer for me, and I am, everyone knows that I'm publicly gay. It still freaked me out. I'm a guy, and this is my, I was just really creeped out by it. The women, we actually have title officers that say, like on orders, send a male notary, the signer is creepy. Our title officers know to let us know if they feel any vibe off the mail. Some places are like processes and they don't talk to their customers as much. If you get that vibe, shut it down. You don't owe anyone anything, and use that female Me Too movement to your advantage and say, this guy's creepy, and get out of there. I just have to say that I'm the only boy of a generation of women, and jokes on my dad, because still gay, but you shut it down immediately.
But listen, even if it's a guy, you don't have to use the Me Too movement. You're just protecting yourself. Shut it down at the first sign that you're going to have a problem. Just don't let it happen. Don't let it happen.
But Ronnie, you're so good looking.
All righty. So our next speaker is Miss Phyllis Traylor.
Okay. So I am going to be talking about the measures I take to meet the Texas, or either to meet the requirements for completing and storing clients' online notarization information. So I'm kind of getting away from the safety aspect of going into clients' homes, but we still have to have some precautions, use some measurements when we're doing our online notarizations for our clients. So one of the things I wanted to talk about is when I receive documents, the documents that need to be notarized online. Now, sometimes it's okay for them to email me the documents. Most of the time it's okay for me to email the documents, but I also do some notarizations for some financial institutions that primarily work with high-end clients that invest their money and that are somewhat wealthy people. And so for those clients that I'm notarizing documents for, the financial institution does not want to email me the documents. So I had to come up with a method to receive those documents in order to notarize them online. So I have a platform that I use called My Docs Online. And with My Docs Online, I can send the clients a link and they can click on that link and upload the documents to My Docs Online. Then I'll receive an email notification and I'm able to go to My Docs Online and download those documents. So the documents are never emailed because when I'm dealing with that particular client, they just don't feel like email is secure enough, which, I understand. So that's one method I use when I'm working with documents that need an additional level of security as far as transferring them back and forth when I'm doing the online notarization. And also after I complete the online notarization of those documents, in order to get the documents back to the client, I could still use My Docs Online. After the documents have been notarized, I can upload them back to My Docs Online. It will generate a link, a secure link, and I can password protect those documents, and I can send the client the link to download the documents along with the password. So the financial institution really likes that method of securing the documents and getting the online notarizations done. So I use that. Also in Texas, we are required to keep a backup of the video recording of the online notarization. So you keep the online notarization platform will keep a backup, but I also keep my own backup. So I know some notaries will keep their backup on a separate hard drive or an external drive, but I keep my backup. I use a platform called Vimeo. With Vimeo, I can upload those videos into the Vimeo system. And if I wanted to share the videos with someone, I can create a private link. And only the person who had that private link can view the videos. Because sometimes I'll do online notarizations for attorney clients, and the attorneys themselves would also like a link to the video so they can have that a copy of the video also. And so if they request that, then I will create a private link for them. But all the videos, the majority of the videos that I have stored on Vimeo, I'm the only person that can access them. And I chose to use Vimeo because in Texas, we're allowed to use more than one platform. And since online notarizations have come about in Texas, I think this was like in 2018, I've used several different platforms. And so we are, as notaries, we are responsible for those video recordings. So I want to make sure that I always have access to those video recordings should anything arise and I need to provide that for any type of court hearing, court proceedings. So that's why I do that. I keep that. I go through that extra measure to provide my own backups. And also I keep a backup of the electronic journal. Now, all the online notarization platforms have their own video system, their own electronic journal, but it's within that particular platform. I like to keep my own backups that I can easily access whenever I need to. So I also have a backup of my electronic journal. And I use a system called Airtable to create a backup for all my electronic journals. So I have a separate backup for everything that I do. And everything is secure and easy for me to assess. And that's all I have to share about my online notarization security measures.
Well, I have a quick question for you.
Yes, ma'am.
All of those measures that you have in place, do you also have some type of VPN or secure portal from your computer to that online platform?
No, I just use the online platform. The online platform is secure. So I just use the online platform. If I was just using my computer, then I would need some type of VPN, but I'm using an online platform. So the online platform itself is secure. And that's why when if I'm working with this particular financial institution, that's why I don't use my email. In fact, they don't want to use email. They just want to use a secure system to upload and download the documents. And that's why I use my docs online.
Yeah, perfect.
Mhm.
Thank you for that cybersecurity bit. Anybody have any questions for Miss Phyllis? Oh, Jane Sue has her hand up. Jane, do you want to unmute and ask your question? Jane?
Okay,
There
I
you
got
go.
unmuted. I've been trying, but I can't. You guys don't allow me to. Um, just to let you know, in Florida, we do have, it has to be state approved, and there are state approved platforms that does everything that's been mentioned. It has the log, it has the video recording, and it has the document that gets uploaded in a secured fashion.
Yeah, all the platforms have that. Mine is an extra measure.
Yep.
Right, well, but you have to have a state approved platform in Florida. You can't use Vimeo and you can't use all the other forms. It has to be specifically state approved platform by the state of Florida.
Okay, here's our disclaimer. Check your state regulations first.
Right, yes, thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Donna Reed has her hand up for you, Phyllis. Donna, do you want to unmute and ask your question?
Donna, can you unmute? Do you need assistance? Turn on your
Okay, there it
camera.
is. There it is.
There you go.
Thank you. Phyllis, I wanted to ask you, good evening, everyone. I wanted to ask you, how much does all of that cost you monthly?
Quite a bit, but I make quite a bit of money doing online notarization too. So, I mean, I don't have a total cost, but, and I don't pay monthly. Everything I pay is usually yearly because that's how I do my taxes. So it's just easier to just pay a yearly fee for Vimeo, pay a yearly fee for the docs, my docs online. If I pay a yearly fee, it's just easier. But it does, it does cost. But then I have everything in order. Should I ever need anything? And of course, I still have to pay for the use of the platform.
Thank you, Phyllis.
Mm-hmm.
And then our matriarch, Miss Carol Ray, has her own quick little tidbit she wants to give us about protecting your stamp and your journal.
Okay, first of all, before I start, I want to make a little announcement, and that is that henceforth, any graduates from Notary to Pro are going to be able to receive a discount on Phyllis's platform. So you just need to go to the graduates website. We're going to have it on our clients, not our clients, but our mentors list of people that are out there for you. I'm very excited about this. And I'm very proud of her. I also wanted to, I also wanted to mention that was something that Ronnie said about what you can and you cannot deal with people being what's called legally capable of signing. And these are certain restrictions of things that are actually legally rendering people capable or incapable of signing documents. And I do have a video, I believe it's on YouTube, that is a whole explanation of what is legally capable. So if people want to see that information, I believe it's out there, and of course it doesn't cost anything. Okay, so to the protecting your journal. First of all, I want to say something that's really important, and that is how you set up your office. This is the beginning of keeping people's information private, and that is to keep it out of travel areas in your home. If you have people in and out, you've got teenagers in your home and they're bringing people into your area, you've got to maintain safety of keeping those people's information, the documents that might be laying around. I've had people that have created offices in closets, believe it or not, because they've got a busy house and the safest place for them is to have a closet. They don't have money to have a second room or an office. And so that's one of the things that you can do. I also want to talk about your car. When you're in the car, you need to make sure that your journal and your stamp are locked up completely. You don't want to carry, I mean, you can carry them in your trunk and just make sure that you keep it locked at all times. Never leave it like on the front seat of your car. And at home, you need to be careful. You need to make sure that it's secure, locked up, safe, in case you're ever broken into. You don't know how tragic that could be for a number of people if they have access to your journal with all of that information. Also, another thing to think about is when you're at the signings, and every once in a while we have to go to the restroom. There's just no getting around it. You don't like to do it, but it does happen. And if that ever happens, you need to take that stamp and that journal with you off of the table when you leave to go to a restroom. That's really important. And I don't have an awful lot more to say about it. I'm sure there might be other people that come up with something else, but I do want to tell kind of a story because when Officer Jason was talking, somebody talked about mafia. Bill and I went to a signing one time, and I always like to look around pictures, make comments, make people feel comfortable and connected with us before we sat down to the table. We walked in a house one time, and it was kind of he was very nice, but it was just something there. And I was looking at pictures on the wall, and they were Sopranos, big time. And so I said, "Oh, is this your family?" And he said, well, yes, it is. He said, when he told me a story when he was a little boy, he was like 10 years old and he lived in a mafia controlled area in New York. And he started doing runnings for the mafia boss, became his little pet. And until he was like 21, and he was at that time driving his mafia boss around. And he got fired at the age of 21. The mafia boss said he didn't want him to spend the rest of his life being his driver. He was just too smart. And he paid his way through college. I thought that was an amazing story. We were in no danger at all, but at first we got a kind of an odd feeling about him in the house. It's just because he had the remnants of the mafia guy there. Anyway, so that's all I have. Any comments would be welcome if you have anything to add to that.
Wow. So don't leave your journal or a FedEx envelope sitting on the front seat of your car, huh?
Nope.
Not a good idea. Perfect. Well, thank you so very much. Any questions for Carol? Show of hands or comments in the chat. If you don't have anything, we do actually have a giveaway today. Mr. Ronnie Meckle is giving away 1 pair of nighttime driving glasses. You know, we've talked about these before. Those are the yellow polarized lenses in the glasses that help you drive in the evenings. They do 2 things. They brighten your way, so they lighten it up a little bit so that you can see, as well as that polarization in the lenses reduces the glare from the lights from the oncoming cars. So it helps you in 2 ways. So we're going to do that giveaway here in just a moment. I want everybody to think of a number between 1 and 50. Wait till I get ready. And then when you're ready, throw it in the chat window. And we will tell you who is the lucky Terry Kelly. Terry Kelly, you are the winner of our giveaway today. So Mr. Mickle, are you with us?
Yes, I am. I'm trying to moderate the chat here.
There we go. So would you like to tell Terry what email to use to contact you in order to get that giveaway?
Sure. Terry, if you could email me at contact@notarystars.com, I would love to get you set up with a pair. We'll ship them directly to you. And if anybody else wants a pair, they are on notarystars.com under resources. You can scroll down to safety tips and they'll be there on the site as well. I actually own a pair, keep them right in my car. I never put anything on NotaryStars that I don't purchase myself. They're amazing. And I've said this before, but my grandmother used to say she was night blind. And I used to think she just didn't want to take me to the mall. And now at 41, I get it.
Congratulations, Terry. Awesome. And we're down to our last segment. And as usual, we've gone over by about 30 minutes or coming up on 30 minutes by the time we finish out of this. Let me check the chat and make sure we don't have any more questions here.
Oh, somebody was asking what I said the pictures were on the wall. There was about 8 pictures of what looked like the Sopranos, all mafia, 100%.
Oh,
That's what was on the
picture
wall.
finding?
Yeah, that was what was on the wall.
Wow. Okay, looks like we're all clear. So we're down to our
Oh.
one last thought segment.
One
Carol.
thing, Beth, I just want to answer Michelle. She said, can you past graduates still get access? You have access to the graduates website for as long as we're in business, Michelle.
All righty. So Carol, as long as your face is up on the screen, do you have one last thought to close us out today?
Oh my gosh. At my age, you learn very quickly that you've got to live every day to the utmost. Enjoy your life. Don't spend all of it working as signing agents. Find other things to do. I used to go play poker a lot.
Thank you. How about you, Phyllis? One last thought?
Just want to clarify what Carol said about the discount for the training. It is for Texas notaries. So if you're a Texas notary and you are going through Notary to Pro, the discount does apply for you if you want to do the Texas Notary Public online training.
Yeah, sorry, Phyllis.
That's okay, because I saw people with platform. How much is the discount? So I just want to clarify that I only train for Texas.
You know, as many of these Zoom calls I do and have done, I still get very nervous. You can probably hear me whenever I have to talk about something.
That's okay. It happens to all of us, but I just want everybody to know that I am a Texas state specific trainer. Thank you. Happy to be here.
What? You can't tell me anything about Arizona? Come on, Phyllis.
You know what? I would be.
I mean, come on, Texas is half the continent, so.
Half of our students.
Okay, so I think Ronnie has something he wants to say, but I'm going to give you my one last thought before he does that because he's long-winded, okay? I'm actually going to read you a quote from Audrey Hepburn. This is Primetime Notaries, right?
Favorite.
Yeah, and half of the people here don't know who that is, but she is a old time. In those days, we called them movie stars. And she had everybody, not unlike what happens today. What's your beauty secret? How do you keep your hair so nice? How do you keep your skin looking so smooth and youthful? And Audrey Hepburn turned to her interviewer and she said, for beautiful eyes, look for the good in others. For beautiful lips, speak only words of kindness. And for poise, walk with the knowledge that you're never alone. That's my final thought for today. Go ahead, Mr. Mickle.
Okay, so I just want to make it clear. I posted it in the chat. I'm going to post it again as I say this. I feel that Notary to Pro is probably the most perfect foundation that any notary can have. I mean, Miss Phyllis, as Miss Carol said, is one of her first graduates. We at NotaryStars do not compete with Notary to Pro. We actually sell the Notary to Pro course at cost on the website and absorb the fee of the processing and all of that stuff and send Notary to Pro their check so that you guys can link the course. We offer advanced training, what we call continuing education, training daily. So we train Monday through Thursday live. And no matter what state you're in, and I would say that, you know, through my relationship with Miss Phyllis, you know, I've now asked her to come on and be a guide for us on the online portion for the entire country, not just for Texas. And I do refer, if you go to our website, NotaryStars, and go down to national trainers, you will see Carol and Phyllis sitting there, as well as one other. And we are continuing to onboard trainers for state specific as well as national trainers. Miss Carol is the national treasure for us and will always be. But tonight I posted a code in the chat, and I would like to invite any Notary to Pro graduate, and I know this is a mix of NotaryStars, Notary to Pro graduates, and the Texas Notary Public Training Academy that all come together to make this happen. This is all of our groups, and I'd like to get 50% off for your first month at NotaryStars on the NotaryStar level to all of you. If you've never been at NotaryStars, come take a month with us. And if you don't like it, you can downgrade and cancel at any time. But if you're watching the replay, sorry, but you got to attend the event live. And you know, we had over 250 signups for this event and 100 something tuned in. If you made it all the way through, you get that 50% discount, which makes it $12.50 for your first month. Go to the website and click join. You'll see what all we offer. If you are a Notary to Pro graduate, we actually offer you to upgrade. So if you actually take advantage of the code and do either the upgrade from NotaryStar to NotaryStar free membership to NotaryStar membership, and you're a Notary to Pro graduate, you will automatically be moved to the platinum status, and that will be explained to you during the onboarding on how to do that. But I would love to invite all of Miss Phyllis's and Miss Carol's trainees to train with us at least for 1 month. And in 1 month, you can get a lot of information. And again, we don't have a contract, so you can decide to stay or go. But honestly, we're going to promote you back to Notary to Pro no matter where you come from. because I feel like we work in tandem so well together. Miss Carol has the perfect foundation for all of us. And I have to tell you, every time that I get to work with Miss Carol and Miss Phyllis now, I feel so blessed to be here. And I just want to offer that to, the people that follow with them to at least try for 1 month, and get that discount. Because I know how hard it is to spend your hard-earned money on different mentors and different training courses. And that's why we do the prime time for, our senior notaries, and anyone's invited. But this is why we do this, because we really, all three of us, Carol and I, Carol called me about a notary this week and said, he's a Notary Pro graduate, and I gave him a very steep discount on trying things. And I contacted Carol and said, hey, I have a NotaryStar that's having trouble getting started. Can you help them as well? And I'm sure if I called Miss Phyllis and said, hey, I have someone, we do this event's free because we really care about all of the students that we mentor. And I feel like Miss Carol and I, and now Miss Phyllis, I'm starting to include Miss Phyllis in that as well. Every time that I talk, are all cut from the same cloth. Like, we care about all of you guys, and I want all of you guys to, continue to sign up. We posted the link earlier. You can use the same link you signed up today to sign up for next month. But this event is very near and dear to our hearts, because we want to take care of those notaries that really mean a lot to us. And I've gotten so many great notaries for Unlimited Ink, not just NotaryStars, from Miss Carol and now Miss Phyllis as well. And I it's my honor to give a 50% discount. I wish I could do it for more, but I got to pay Miss Beth. She's really expensive to help me to help me teach things. But I just wanted to make that announcement. And if you didn't get the code, I'll type it one more time, and Miss Beth, you can sign us off.
Yep, I got it in there. Everybody turn on your cameras, if you will. We're gonna do the goodbye for now wave.
I want
Cameras
to I want to say to Ronnie that I'm telling all of my graduates to please go to NotaryStars, because what you're doing is amazing. I absolutely love it, and I endorse you 150%.
I have to tell you, Miss Carol, I will say this. Beth and I actually, so about 4 months ago, I added, how did you hear about NotaryStars onto when they sign up. And I was going back through today, and about 50% of them say Notary Pro, and the other 50% say YouTube or Susan Cope, who was the first person to ever sign into NotaryStars. She still is like other than you, is our biggest, word of mouth. So, and here's the thing, before we all close this out, I'm gonna turn on the gallery so we can all see those cameras waving. But Carol believes the same thing I do. There's no one mentor out there for you. You have to continue to train, and you have to hear different perspectives, and you have to develop your business for yourself. And although I believe in Carol's course, and I believe in Miss Phyllis's course, and they believe in ours, we also don't say we're the be all end all. There's other courses available, but we will definitely care about you more. Okay, everybody, let's start that wave so we can wave to all those future primetime notaries.
Awesome, guys. This was a really great session. Thanks for everyone for being here. It was fantastic.
I just noticed my bandages are showing.
Other hand.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you, guys. Have a good evening.